welcome to the second episode of When Life Calls, hosted by your girl Annie. When life calls, whether it be heartbreak or love, degrees or adulting, we got an answer. We cover it all here. On today's episode, I bring on Benaias to talk about his passion to highlight and educate others on the healthcare system disparities, increase financial literacy in disadvantaged communities, all while speaking up on mental health in African Americans. Be prepared to laugh, educate yourself, and become inspired. Alright, welcome back to another episode of When Life Calls, where we talk about adulting from a med school student's perspective and any special guests who I feel can contribute to you guys just as well as my life. Today we have a special guest, Benaias. What it do, baby?
Hey, what's going on?
Benaias, before we even start, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Alright, so social media, IG, it's Benny7, BENNYE7. And to follow my financial wellness Instagram / business Instagram.
Okay, money.
Exactly, you gotta be about it. It's Actionable Steps.io, so ACTIONABLE steps.io. Okay. And that's our website, and it's also our name for Instagram. So find us.
And what else? There's one more, isn't there?
Oh, there is.
He's part of so many things, guys. I might as well just make a phone book and get it.
So my newly founded organization is Black Mental Health Alliance of Nashville, and so you can find us on BMHA Nashville on IG or bmhanashville.com.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, we're going to get into all the different things he's part of, all the organizations, and basically his platform. But before we do that, we have to start every episode with an intro or some kind of thing to lighten the mood. However, today it's going to be a little bit more serious because I want to ask Benaias on his thoughts on the Travis Scott event that happened last week. You know about that, right?
I've heard.
Okay, so
Lord.
First, I guess to give a little background, Travis Scott basically has like a tour called Astroworld that he does. He hasn't done it in a long time, but this year it was supposed to be a 2-day event, and apparently on the first night there was a lot of people. So I guess they oversold tickets or whatnot, and then there was a lot of people pushing each other towards the front, and a lot of just crazy things happening. And so about 8 people so far, I think it's 9 now, have died or passed away from the concert, and a lot of people got injured. So it's a very sad thing that happened, but I think, as young people who are concert goers, and listen to, all this pop music and whatever, I think we should put our thoughts on it. So what do you think?
I mean, man, that was quite a tragedy in my opinion. Yeah. I did not expect something that's supposed to be fun to turn into such a tragedy.
It was really dumb. I think for me personally, I don't know. Okay, my biggest question is, do you think it was his fault or do you think it was the people he's working with? Like, who do you think most of the blame should be put on? Or do you think it was the people in the audience, the crowd people?
That's a tough question. I mean, ultimately,
politician?
It's not even a politician. I am the last thing.
Okay.
Never compare me to those. But no, so I think it's hard. But no, so I think the people who were organizing this event were definitely responsible. Mm-hmm. I think, based on what I read, he's also known to get the crowd super high.
He had so many incidents in the past where he was getting them to rage. Whatever that means, I don't even know.
Yeah,
but push forward and stuff.
So it gets wild. I mean, but then there's this crazy other side that I've heard where people are all of it is satanic worshiping.
That's the one I've heard a lot, demonic. And here's my thought on that real quick. I'm so sorry to cut you off. But because my sister and I were talking about this, and when she told me the whole demonic thing, because she was a firm believer that it was demonic and stuff, while I can see that, I also feel using demonic as an excuse takes the blame from the other people around, the paramedics who were not as proactive, the sound crew, all that stuff, and makes it seem it was just Travis Scott alone is demonic. Nobody else was involved. And I think that's not really fair. We need to, yes, we can take away the conspiracy theories afterwards or whatever, but now we need to just kind of, see what could have been done better on an, institutional level. Not, you know what I mean?
No, I completely
Not a conspiracy theory level, whatever.
No, I completely I've seen security guards who were taking videos.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I think saying demonic takes blame away from those people, too, because, they might not be demonic or whatever, but they definitely were doing their jobs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Okay, so I guess that's it. Unless you have any other things to say
No,
about
I
it.
mean, I feel bad for everybody who was involved. You know, my
Mhm.
thought goes to the families who were
Family.
impacted.
Yeah, it's definitely sad. Rest in peace to all the lovely lives taken away. And anybody else, if you're going out, like, let's be safe. We were in a pandemic and are currently still in a pandemic. And COVID, you know, if COVID didn't take you out, it's sad that things like that, like, will take you out. I mean, we need to be safe.
Especially when you're trying to get out to, like, you know,
Yeah,
get some refuge away
that's
from
what
all
I'm
the...
saying. And it's like the thing you're now going to is what's killing you.
Yeah.
Like, it could be me. So, actually, it could be me. So I need to be careful.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, too. Like, it's not even these things that you're like, oh, they could have, you know, they should have been smarter or this or that. Like,
that's true.
these are everyday places that we
that people
all
go
frequent.
to
You
and
know?
think people plan for months in advance to do. So it's really sad.
I completely agree.
Okay, so switching gears and moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted, I guess.
Thank goodness. I was getting like, oh
Sweating a
man,
little
is
bit.
this the kind of interview she got me in?
So what are your thoughts on? I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
No, but okay, so Benaias, like we mentioned earlier, is involved in a lot of cool organizations. And before we even talk about those organizations, I guess I kind of want to know, like, Benaias, what was your initial inspiration to even want to make change or to even start anything? Like, we're in medical school. How do you even have time to think about those things and, like, start working on, you know, those projects and stuff? So
That's a great question. I think my answer is the systems in place that are meant to protect us are failing miserably, or they were designed to fail us in the first place.
Okay.
And so they're not failing, they're working as intended.
Okay.
And so, like, even in medicine, you know, like, there's so much exploitation in medicine.
Yeah.
People can't get care unless they have insurance. You know, we won't even, like, there's issues where, you know, med students, residents, attendings, and doctors all go through this cycle of abuse where, you know, they're in the bottom of the rung and they can't really speak out, and they go through so much, and then they get to a point where, you know, even the people who really cared about making a difference and who really cared about, you know, helping people, they can't do it, or they're just so demoralized that, you know, they're just like, man, I'm just worried about myself at this point. And given all this, and given, like, the fact that in a global pandemic, our health policy has not changed.
That's very true.
Whatsoever. And so it just goes to show you that, like, the systems in place are not interested in keeping us safe. They're not interested in keeping us well. They're not interested in keeping us healthy. They're only interested in treating us if we can pay.
That's true.
So based
and
on
we
that,
have one of the most expensive healthcare, like, in
systems,
the world.
I know, we pay the most, and we have, like, what, it's ranked 15, 16 national. It's just like, it's just embarrassing. And at the same time, you know, we can't just say, oh, this is embarrassing, or, oh, all these issues exist, without offering any solutions, because that's what many people do, you know, like,
that's true.
You look at the news, you look at this, all they do is name all these problems, but no one is giving you any solutions. No one is telling you anything that's, like, inspiring. They're just like, oh, we're gonna keep trying the same old thing, and nothing is working. I wonder why. And it's just like, all right, well, maybe we need to, you know, we need to do something completely different.
Yeah, so to backtrack from everything, like, how did you even learn about the healthcare system? How did you come to understand it? Because a lot of Americans don't even understand the healthcare system, and because of how confusing and complex it is, a lot of people just choose to stay away and not even learn about it. And a lot of people don't even think insurance is important. So how did you even learn about it?
Well, so I came from an underprivileged background.
Okay.
Prior to getting into med school, I did not have insurance.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So you know, like, so
crazy.
when you talk about issues of, like, uninsured, this, that, it hits close to home when I was literally uninsured before I got into med school.
Wow.
Because I couldn't afford it. You know, I was working part-time while applying to jobs. And even though I was working part-time, I was doing more than 40 hours. But ultimately, the benefits that come with a part-time job just don't cut it in terms of affordability of health insurance. So I just, you know, was kind of coasting on nothing. And then I got into med school and I jumped ship. And I was like, you know, like, this is such an important thing. And that's why I'm a big champion for Medicare for All, and just making sure that people have access to quality care, you know, because it's important. Like, we have to prioritize putting people over money.
Wow, that's okay. That was a lot. How was life without insurance?
It's a gamble. It's a crazy gamble, I tell you. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you're like, should I go in for that? Or,
I know.
Or am I gonna be fine? You know, like, yeah. And
Tylenol.
exactly. You just
Band-Aids.
you ignore a bunch of things. You know, it's like a car. You know, you're supposed to do oil changes every 3 months.
Yes. Okay.
And so, you know, if you are like, oh, I don't have the money this month to go to oil change, what ends up happening is slowly now you have an engine problem, right? And the same thing happens with health.
And then it's a bigger problem than what it initially was.
Exactly.
Like
now you need surgery.
Now you need.
But before, all you needed was a general checkup, you know? So it just
that's
spirals out of
crazy.
control. And it's the same way in medicine. And so, like, seeing how, you know, like, I wanted to be a doctor and I'm, like, working for this dream. And then I'm realizing, like, am I even going to have the ability to help the people who are as vulnerable as I once was? And, you know, under this current system, I don't really think so. Like, it makes it so hard to reach out to those people and actually be able to make an impact in their life. So, you know, like, I was just like, all right, we have to think outside the box.
Okay, so thinking outside of the box is how you decided to start your financial literacy? Or?
Yes. So financial literacy, so the way that connects into the larger
Healthcare,
picture.
Yeah. Because like, there's so many
Exactly. I know.
strings.
I'm like, you know, it's only Sunny when he's like trying to put all the little dots together. He's like, Dennis.
You know who you remind me of? You remind me of those guys by the lockers who like, what you need, and then they'll jack it up. I got financial literacy. I got what you need.
Everything, you know. No, sometimes you gotta bring it, but so that for me, that came as a result of the fact that I go to a medical school that charges $95,000 a year.
That's true.
And that's serious money. And so, given the fact that I come from an underprivileged background, you know, I can say, hey, I really want to, you know, help underserved people. I want to change their lives, this, that. But by the time I graduate from med school, I'm going to have close to $500,000 in debt.
Whew, that's big money.
Right? And so what ends up happening is people who are put in these kinds of situations where they owe that much money, even if you really care about that community and you really want to help them advance, by the time you're a doctor, you're going to have family, you're going to have
so many things
you know,
to take care
kids,
of
this, that, you got community, parents are getting older, and so your priorities start to change, and you might be in a position where, you know, you're tight on money because you're still got to pay off student loans. $500,000 looming over your head,
I'm
right?
actually trying to process, like, think about how much that would, like, what can you buy with that money? You know what I mean?
I'm like, yo.
I'm trying to think about it that way, and then that's when it becomes more real to me, like, wow.
Exactly.
That's a lot of money.
Exactly. And it's just like, there's so many doctors who get to that point and they really wanted to make a difference, but then they end up having to sell out, and, you know, because they just need to make more money. So they'll do things like, you know, upcharging. So they'll do one procedure and charge for a more expensive one.
Oh, yeah. We learned about this.
Exactly. Or they'll do other things like they'll
I know they'll like turn away Medicare and Medicaid patients because they
Definitely.
feel like that's not enough money coming in for just a checkup, or they feel like I can see more patients with quality health insurance, or like more paying, better paying.
Yeah, with private insurance. Yeah, exactly. And so you end up pretty much hurting the people that you once said you were gonna help.
Oh, yeah. That's
And
crazy.
I don't want to get in that position. So my biggest thing is I gotta make sure that, you know, I am taking care of my financial wellness early. Because this is the big problem that, you know, a lot of people in med school deal with. They think, oh, I'll deal with that once I have money. Right now, I barely have money, so who cares about all of that?
That's the thing. Like, we feel like, oh, we're just gonna walk into, like, get our diploma on Monday. By Tuesday, start making like billions of dollars. That's not how it works, guys.
Not at all.
Like,
so
not
you
at all.
start residency and you're working like 88 hours for like $60K, which $60K is a lot of money. It's you know, for a lot of people. So don't get me wrong, but $60K for 80 hours, you're getting paid minimum wage.
Basically, and by that point, people choose to have had families. At that point, people probably are paying for their own apartment or houses at that point. So it's like the money is not enough for the lifestyle that, you know, you need to start living. And then also people who want to like 2-year business programs or whatever are already making way much more money than you at that age, because you guys, you know, went to college together and like started school together, and then because of the different like career paths, it can be kind of, you know, frustrating. So
definitely, people have already bought their houses, and you're
yeah.
just now starting your job. Yeah. So, you know, I just wanted to make sure I had a way of safeguarding my own personal finance, and also making sure that, like, a big thing is I also want to educate as many people as possible.
Okay.
So I use my Instagram to teach people about financial wellness, to give people weekly updates on, you know, finance and the trends. Currently, the biggest thing is inflation, which is causing, you know, the prices of all goods to increase. It's groceries getting more expensive.
Even gas,
everything.
I was like,
I know, right? It's like, I'm not going anywhere.
It's really sad. Actually, one of the saddest part is that I was an econ minor in college. I feel like I still don't understand like basic economics. I don't understand it really well. And financial literacy is like, you expect an average person should be able to understand like how taxes work, how paying your bills work, mortgage, even life insurance for God forbid if anything happens. And I hear all these different like ads talking about, oh, you know, better insurance or better this, and I'm like, I don't understand how anything works. And I was a whole econ minor. Talk less of people who probably didn't even go to college. Talk less of people who did maybe stayed in the arts if they did go to college. So for your financial literacy, how can people get connected or involved besides just Instagram? Do you guys? What is your plan, overall plan?
So currently, I'm teaching financial literacy through Instagram, and then there's also a business aspect to it as well, where we offer bookkeeping, accounting, and tax services.
Oh, really?
To individuals, nonprofits, and small businesses. Because ultimately, our big mission with Actionable Steps is we want to help people get out of the cycle of exploitative jobs that they're getting into, because a lot of these jobs are paying people, you know, like,
you mean like
minimum
a 9 to
wage,
5?
if not,
Okay.
They're getting paid like minimum wage, being taken advantage of. They're not getting the benefits that they deserve, and pretty much their employer is taking, you know, all the profit that they're making from their employees, and they're not giving it back to them.
That's
and
true.
At that point, it's just like, I want to empower people to realize you have what it takes
to be your own boss.
Exactly.
Period.
So do it yourself, and we're here to help you. We help, you know, with establishing business in terms of like business formation. We'll help you incorporate. We'll help you with your taxes. We'll help you with your bookkeeping. We just want to make sure that you build something that's sustainable, so that you're not dependent on these systems that are designed to take advantage of us.
Okay, so I have a question. So for anyone who wants to start a business, how, because you know with COVID, a lot of people lost their businesses and weren't able to get back on their feet. So what would you say is the best way to avoid like losing your business permanently in case there's any kind of pandemic or any kind of whatever might happen in the future? Like, I feel like that's something that makes a lot of people scared to start a business, like the fear that one day something might happen and they won't be able to get back on their feet. So what would you say to people who are worried about something like that, but want to start their own business?
You just gotta take contingency, like create contingency plans. Because the thing is, life happens.
Okay.
You can't stop life.
Yeah.
Like this pandemic, no one thought this was gonna happen.
That's true.
And there's no one that could have prevented it. The only thing is, what are the steps that you could take to minimize the impact of something like
insurance
this?
for your business and stuff like that?
So if you have a business that has a risk in terms of like, if you're unable to meet a certain demand, you're gonna have to pay either, you know, your clients back or things like that. Insurance would be definitely something that's helpful. Now with social media, you know, booming, and like e-commerce being the next big thing, every business should be online. That is a must.
And have social media.
And a social, that is advertisement. Like, if you haven't, you know, gotten that part yet, like, you need to do more research on your business, because social media is almost free advertisement, and you can put money into, you know, getting more people
like
to do your ads.
Yeah.
But like, it is the first step of, you know, establishing a brand. So I think if you're scared about, you know, if the business closed or this or that, like, you gotta establish something online.
I'm scared. Like, the thing about it is, they're not waiting for you. Social media is not waiting for you. Everything is moving on like a fast roller coaster, and if you're trying to stay like 10 steps behind, you will get left behind. Like, I think because for me, I try my best, TikTok, YouTube, I try to stay connected, but even then it's like there's no guarantee about the success with your online platform, but you have to at least try, because if you say, oh, I don't want to put too much time in that in case no one sees my post, then you really are limited even more than like being on the web. So I don't know. I think it's something that everyone should consider looking into, whether it's like an official business or just like a side hustle. Yeah. I think it's fair.
I completely agree. Show up every day.
Yeah.
And I see you like posting all the time.
Man.
I'm like we're in class, 8 a.m. and I'm like, she's dropping one.
Because a lot of people make money and can like afford smaller things. Like people are able to pay for rent with just like their side hustle, even if they're in school. And for me, I'm like, I see that we're taking out so many loans, and it's like so much loans, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know I'm gonna one day be successful, God willing, but what am I doing to kind of help myself? Like, if I wanna, just get a winter coat, it's getting cold outside. I shouldn't be there like getting more loans to pay for that. I should be able to pay for it, with like social media money or any, you know what I mean?
Side hustle money.
Yeah. Like, and that's how I firmly believe that like we are more than one thing. Like we are multidimensional human beings. If you have a talent, try and make money out of it. And then if you are also in school, you can still make money on the side. I don't know. Like I think it's something that people should consider. Not everybody wants to, but I personally am trying. Okay, so that actually leads to my next question. So you talked a lot about like loans and being a medical student and residency, how we might not be able to afford our lifestyle. So that plays a role with mental health. How do you navigate mental health, like being a medical student and constantly struggling with all these life changes and future changes?
Lord, that is a question and a half. It's tough. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had a tough last 2-3 weeks, and it gets tough dealing with things at home, dealing with things at school, dealing with things in personal life. Yeah, constantly like. I mean, I'm Ethiopian. Ethiopia has been in war, and you're just seeing like images of genocide constantly. Oh yeah, so I mean, so there's just been a lot going on, and for me, the biggest thing of how I take care of my mental health is sleep.
Okay, preach.
I prioritize my sleep like nothing else. If I'm tired, I'm going to bed, and we're gonna wake up early. Like I'm not gonna power through something tired as hell, and no, it's just like there's nothing that's entering my brain.
That's true.
We're not consolidating enough, so it's just like, to me, if I'm tired or something's going on and I need some sleep, I prioritize my sleep all the time.
I love that. As someone who takes naps upon naps, like that sounds so nice to me right now.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling one right now too. So, but so I do that. I talk to people. I'm a very open person.
That's really good.
Yeah,
actually.
so I am like talk to friends. I talk to therapists. Like I'm big on therapy. Just making sure like there's a stigma in the Black community about getting therapy or just even mental health. And the whole point is you don't need therapy because you have a mental illness. You need therapy to to prevent mental illness and to also help you, process the things that you've already gone through so that you can improve yourself. Because ultimately, every one of us can improve ourselves, right? Yeah, you're not perfect right now, are you?
I mean,
you're pretty close, but there are a couple of things that not kidding.
Working on myself.
Exactly. And sometimes, when you're in your own head all the time, it's hard to see that some patterns of thinking or some patterns of behavior are not helpful to you. And so it's nice to have somebody who's objective, who's not impacted by your life, to be like, hey, like, what's up with that? Yeah. Or, like somebody said therapy is like talking to a therapist and the therapist being like, this is really how you live? So, like, I think it's important.
Okay, I have a question about therapy.
What's up?
Because I have never tried it, and I want to try it, but my thing is, what if you can't even really express what's going on with you? How can your therapist know what's going on if you can't even vocalize it?
I mean, so what they'll do is they'll do different techniques, because like if you're just unable to talk about it, there are different ways of expressing yourself. So they'll find ways that you are good at expressing yourself, and they'll use that to slowly but surely try to, get to. Because a lot of the times, these kinds of issues may be that, you've repressed whatever it is so far back in your brain that you can't even access it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just because you can't access it doesn't mean it's not impacting you.
Okay, that's fair.
Like when we don't deal with emotions, these emotions start manifesting themselves as like physical symptoms.
Like what?
So like if you're anxious and you're not, addressing the whatever's causing anxiety, you'll start feeling like back pain or cramps or this or that, and it's like, and the reason why is the same pathway that deals with pain processing.
Okay, doctor.
And I'm a neuroscience major, so I always love bringing the brain connection. But it's just like the same pathway that deals with emotional pain also deals with physical pain.
Okay, so
if you're not dealing with the emotional pain, it's going to manifest as physical pain.
That's really scary,
and so this is why, we all have to address these things, because just because, you're like, oh, it doesn't affect me. Just because you say it doesn't affect you doesn't necessarily mean it's not. Like our body is so, like there's the mind-body connection, and our body is just so in tune with this environment. Like when you're around people that make you feel safe, your heart rate slows down. You start relaxing.
Nice.
Your posture opens up.
Oh yeah, because we learned about that if there's someone you don't like or something that makes you nervous, your aversion center will come in like, oh, that's something bad. They'll detect it as bad, and then your sympathetic nervous system will be activated, like fight or flight. So.
Preach!
I'm trying to, add my knowledge.
Yeah. She said she's trying to review for neuro.
Gotta study for STEP.
Exactly. I love it.
But yeah, so okay, another thing is like a lot of people in the Christian community kind of just feel like, if you have any problems, just pray about it. Like God should be able to answer all your issues and your problems. Now the thing about that is God literally put people on this earth with us for a reason, because he could have made us all in separate planets and be on our own, isolated, without families and stuff, but God put therapists here for a reason, so I think it's still very smart to get involved and see a therapist. And if you want like a Christian-centered therapist, there are therapists who would use a Christian approach too. But at the end of the day, ultimately, you're talking to someone and you're kind of getting that help that you need. So I'm going to try it. Thank you, Benaias, for talking about that, because I think that's not talked about.
Yeah, no, you can have Jesus and a therapist.
You can have both,
honestly,
okay?
Yeah. ¿Por qué no los dos? Like, you can have both. Don't. It's not a one or the other.
One or none.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was going to say, so how does that play or tie in with your Black Mental Health Nashville Association?
Okay. And before I answer that, let me just quickly talk about therapy. So therapy is a relationship that you have with another individual, right?
Okay.
So just like any other relationship, do you click with everybody that you meet?
No.
So if you don't, if you have a session with your therapist and you don't have a good time, that's not the right person for you.
No,
that's not to say that therapy is not right for you. That person, that therapist is not the best person suited for you. Okay. So, like, I just want to tell people, give it a chance. And if if one person lets you down, try another one. Okay. But don't, quickly fatigue. Yeah. Okay. But how it relates to my mental health organization.
Yeah.
So we're so it's a Black mental health organization, and we're trying to break the stigma of mental health in the Black community. And one of the ways we try to do that is by holding support groups for people. Every 2 weeks we hold Zoom sessions for people from different backgrounds to come together to talk about the issues that they're going through.
That's really nice.
And just it's just like creating space for people to just be vulnerable. All age. And we're working on stratifying it based on gender, so like age, if you are LGBT, like different identities. So like if you're formerly incarcerated, we want to give those people a support group where they can talk about the issues that they face. And ultimately, we're not just talking about these things, we're trying to address them. So we partner with different political organizations like Black Nashville Assembly, so that we bring the issues that we talk about in these spaces to these like organizations, so that we're working to address them through policy. So we don't just talk about it. We're trying
You're doing
to
something
solve
about
it.
it.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
really good.
And so we're doing that. We're also highlighting Black clinicians in the community. So when people are ready to see a clinician for the first time and they want somebody that looks like them, there's a directory with people in Nashville that they can reach out to.
And one of the cool things is Benaias actually spoke to our class. So we're med students. So he talked about how there's doulas available, and he had like a little page on his website where anybody in the community who's looking for like a doula, a Black doula, to feel more supported during your pregnancy and the delivery will be available on the website. I thought that was very cool because I don't think a lot of people even navigate that area at all. They all feel like they have to go to the hospital, which is that's all we've been taught growing up. But there's more avenues, and I thought it was really cool, Benaias, that you guys included that on your website.
Yeah, no, that's a critical part because the Black maternal mortality is 3 to 4 times that of white women.
True.
And so even if you are going to these hospitals, the people in the hospitals are not treating Black women the way that they should be treated. They're not listening to them. They're not addressing their concerns. And so Black women need an extra hand. They need somebody advocating for them. And that's why we believe that highlighting doulas and midwives in Nashville is a very important part of addressing the Black maternal mortality rate.
Okay, so remember, you guys can find Benaias on Instagram on his multiple pages.
Oh Lord, yeah, I'm gonna have a whole list coming down. BMHA Nashville,
So Yellow Pages,
Benny G7, and actionablesteps.io.
Just put your social security number real quick, phone number, debit card, Visa.
or my brother actually made me a website. It's called Benaias.com. So
really?
BENAIAS.com. It has everything that I'm interested in and working on. So that may be
nice.
My brother's awesome.
And I'll put that in the link for you, like in the description for you guys. I'll put the link there so you can click on it.
Oh, look at how putting me on.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming here, and I'm just happy you were able to share knowledge with me because I didn't know half of these things, and then with my viewers.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Good to see y'all.